Hello everyone, my name is Gabrielle and I'm one of the mentors working with Mac Outreach. Mac Outreach is a team of undergraduate students who work under the guidance of Dr. Christopher Onen to provide elementary and middle school age children with computer programming workshops. Our goal is to help teach skills such as literacy and math comprehension with coding in a fun and friendly way, and to do this we use Elm, a functional programming language. We run workshops during the year and a summer camp for free where we focus on mathematics, design thinking, teamwork, collaboration, and creativity. We also host workshops at schools and community centers across the greater Hamilton area, and also welcome many teachers and students to our campus at McMaster University. Our goal is to foster an environment where students are encouraged to get creative, ask questions, and work together to apply classroom concepts as they problem solve. We love combining traditional learning with application processes and storytelling. If you have any more questions about our work or how to get involved, please feel free to email us at mcmasteroutreach@gmail.com or visit our website outreach.mcmaster.ca to see a few examples of our workshops and the wonderful things that our students have come up with, ranging from comics to websites and online games. Within this video, we'll be going over Lesson 1, where we aim to set a foundation for our programming skills by getting familiar with our workspace and then also learning to create basic shapes and apply various transformations to them. To begin, let's open a new window using Google Chrome. Please make sure you're only using Chrome as our system is not supported by other servers such as Safari or Internet Explorer. So we're going to open a new tab and visit our website at macoutreach.rocks, and it'll take us to this pretty blue login page. From this page, you're able to type in your username and password that you should have received in an email from us. Please make sure you're using the appropriate uppercase and lowercase letters for both the username and the password, as our system is case sensitive. If you haven't received a username or password, or you're experiencing some issues logging in, please email us at mcmasteroutreach@gmail.com and we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible so you can begin your own learning journey. So once you have done that, you'll be able to see at the bottom of your login that there are a bunch of different icons. These icons reflect the different activities you're able to complete within our lessons. We have everything from pictures to animations to games to math and even physics slots. So for this lesson, we're going to click on the animation slot. It's the second most left icon, and it kind of looks like a moving film strip. Once you select an icon, you'll see a number appear at the bottom. This number reflects the slot you'll be working within. A slot describes the memory card that your work will automatically be saved to once you hit the compile button. So for the purpose of this lesson, I'm going to be working within slot number 4, and I'm going to just hit on the blue rectangle below that to begin working. Now that we've logged in, let's get familiar with our workspace. So to begin, let's look at our top left box. This left box contains our boilerplate. The boilerplate refers to the section of code that is needed for it to run and be executed. This means it should not be deleted, or else your code will not compile. This section is also where you'll be writing your own code in between these square brackets. So once you type in your code in these square brackets and hit compile, you'll be able to see your result in the next section. So the top right box is where the images and animations you code for will eventually be displayed. For example, we'll soon be creating a heart. The bottom left box contains the code that is needed for your program to run. You don't have to worry too much about this section as you're unable to edit it. It's all run by our mentors and essentially used to help keep the website running smoothly. And finally, we have the bottom right corner. This box will be of great use to you, so if you ever find yourself in a pickle and your code isn't working, or maybe you forgot how to do a certain skill, you're able to type a message and start a conversation with our mentors, and we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. Moreover, if you create a code and you're really proud of it and you want us to put up on our websites, feel free to type a message here and copy and paste your code, and we'll do our best to put it up. Finally, let's go to the top of our page. In this red rectangle, you'll see a bunch of clickable links that will give you shortcuts to different tools that can help you in creating your code. And there's also our compile button. Our compile button is kind of like our enter key, and it kind of processes all the inputs we put in through our code box and creates the output that we then see in our top right box. The first tool we're going to practice using within this lesson is called Shape Creator, which you can access through the top link of the page, and it'll take you to a new tab within your web browser. Shape Creator is kind of like a cheat sheet or training wheels as you get used to the terms used to describe and manipulate your shapes. For now, I'm going to do a little walkthrough of the 5 elements of Shape Creator until you get a little more comfortable and maybe try making your own shapes. So to begin, we're going to pick a stencil. Stencils are your basic generic shapes, and they each have a number or a set of numbers next to it. These numbers describe the dimension of the shape. So if I were to click on a circle, it would give me 10. 10 describes the radius of the circle, meaning the distance between the center of the circle to the edge. Similarly, if I was to click on the rectangle 10, 15, my rectangle would appear with a width of 10 units and a height of 15 units. These are all the standard to begin, but you're able to always manipulate it more. When you click on a stencil, you don't always see it because you're not able to visualize it. We need to add a physical attribute so that it's able to appear on our screens. To do this, we add a fill or an outline. Fill is just a solid color, whereas outline describes the unique way you're able to outline your shape. There's a bunch of different varieties you can choose from. So you could have a solid, dotted, dashed, long dash, or dot dash outline. And I'm able to choose these by clicking on the bracketed term. Next, we're going to move on to color. Here we have a variety of colors listed for you to choose from. And in lesson 3, we'll learn how to pick more unique colors that you're able to mix yourself based on lightness and darkness. Next, we're going to move on to transforms. Transforms describe how you're able to stretch or shrink your shape. When you scale it, you're able to stretch it proportionally. Where you pick a number greater than 1, you make your shape larger. But if you're to pick a number between 0 and 1, so a decimal, you're able to shrink your shape. Similarly, scale X allows you to stretch or shrink your shape within the X direction, so widthwise. Scale Y allows you to stretch or shrink your shape again, but this time from the Y direction, so looking at the height. Next, we'll move on to rotate. So rotate just describes how you're able to turn your shape around, and it uses degrees. Move describes how you're able to move your shape across your screen, where the first number describes the X and the second number describes the Y placement of your shape. One way I like to help me remember the way I'm placing my shapes is Y to the sky. So as I said before, the first number describes your X. So how will your shape move from the left to the right of the screen? Y describes up and down. So when you think Y to the sky, you know it's going vertically. Our final transformation we're going to look at is called Make Transparent. Make Transparent is able to manipulate the density of your shape. It comes in really handy when you're trying to layer different shapes or have a different effect. So when students were trying to make comics which had ghost characters, this was a really great effect to use. You're able to have more than one transform applied to your shape. However, if you ever come at a time where you don't want to have a certain transform applied, simply click on it, and when it's unhighlighted, it will go away. Now we'll go on to tweaking it. Tweaking it describes how you're able to further manipulate your shape. So say you'd like your shape to be brought down a little bit more. By clicking on the down, you're able to see it move and see the connection between your move and your tweak. Next, if you would like maybe your shape to be a little shorter, you're able to see how this tweak correlates to your stencil. And it helps you to recognize the patterns between the numbers here and the ways you would describe them using words. Finally, your code will appear at the bottom of the screen. So now that we have our code down here, we're able to copy it. And to copy it, there are a few ways to do this. You can highlight and right click, and that's copying your code to your clipboard. Or if you're using a PC, you're able to copy by highlighting and pressing Control C. And now if you're using a MacBook, you're able to highlight and press Command C. And now we're able to paste our code either right-clicking and pressing paste, or even pressing Command V or Control V based on your kind of laptop or computer. So once again, Command V is if you're using a Mac computer, and then Control V is if you're using a PC or a Chromebook. So with that pasted, we can press compile, and you'll see our shape appear on the right-hand screen. So with our shape now present, I wanted to kind of walk you through what this code means. So we have a rectangle with the attributes of a width of 10 and a height of 5 units. We filled it in black, we scaled it by 2, and then we scaled it in the X direction by 2 again. So we stretched it by 2, but then we also stretched it again in the width by double again. So before each of our descriptions of our shape, you can see that there's a funny little symbol here. This is called a piping tool. As we add elements on our page, we use this piping tool to help the system understand that these are descriptors. This is called a forward piping tool and is made up of 2 keyboard characters. The first one is above or near your enter key, and you have to hold the shift button to get it. It's just a straight line. The second one is the greater than symbol. By holding the shift and then clicking on the period key, it's able to appear on your screen. It is used when we want to add more features or attributes to our shape. Secondly, I want to talk about how do you add more than one shape to your screen. So every time you make a shape in My Shapes, or as you get more accustomed to the patterns of how we create these shapes, always make sure you have a comma between them. So with our comma in place, we're going to add another shape. Let's add a circle and maybe give it a radius of 15, and we'll fill it in black. So filled black. And you'll see our circle comes up onto our screen, but it overlaps with our rectangle. We're able to move it using our move function as we saw earlier. So move, and let's say it's overlapping. Maybe we'll put the circle above our rectangle. So we can leave our X is fine, and we'll maybe just change our Y digit. So we'll go up, maybe let's try 5 units since the width of our rectangle is 5. And as you can see, our shape moved up a little bit, but still overlapped, so let's just do 20. Great. Now our circle is above our rectangle. One final tip I wanted to give to you is what if you want to have a fill and an outline on your shape? Well, to do this, you would first write the fill code. Then below it, you'd add another piping tool, and you're able to add outline, where you capitalize the O in outline, the type of outline you want to have, so maybe we'll just stick with solid, 1, and the color. Let's make this one yellow. And press compile, and you're able to see you have both attributes going on, but it's not shared with you on Shape Create. Now we've practiced making shapes, let's get coding. So as I said earlier, in this lesson we're going to try and make a heart. So I'm going to just erase the current code we have within our square brackets, just so we have a clean workspace, and now we're going to go back to our Shape Create. So let's try and break down our heart into 2 basic shapes we can think of. So let's think of our heart as being made up of a triangle and 2 circles to make the top foot. So let's start by making the base, the triangle. So we'll click on triangle over here, and let's just unselect the transforms there. And maybe do we want to fill it in red? Okay, and now let's think about the orientation. Are we satisfied with this? No. Let's maybe try rotating it. Perfect. So 30 degrees off the bat, set it up to be in the vertical direction we like it in. Now we're going to copy our code, and we're going to paste it into our outreach slot. So we're going to erase that line again, paste, and compile. Now we have our triangle appearing on our screen, but it looks a little small, so it might be a little hard to work with. So let's make our triangle a bit bigger. Let's make it 40. Perfect, that's a really good size to be working with. Now it's on to make our circles. So we'll click on circle. We don't need to rotate it because all sides of the circle are the same, and we have it filled red. Let's copy our other code, and we'll paste it here. Now one thing to always remember, we need a comma in between our 2 shapes or else it wouldn't show up. And we'll compile, but we still can't see our circle. So what's up? So our circle is overlapping with our triangle, so we definitely need to move it up and possibly to the right. So let's begin. Let's move it maybe 17 units to the right and 23.5 units up. Perfect. It's at the top of our triangle, but it looks a little off. it looks a little bit too small. So let's recall that we changed our triangle to be 40 units wide. We want to take up half of the width of the triangle. We need to double our radius of our circle. So we'll change the 10 to a 20. And that circle looks more proportionate to our triangle. So now time to add our second circle. We'll add our comma again because it's a new shape. And we can just easily copy the original circle and paste because we want it to be a mirror image. And once we hit compile, we notice that we don't see our other circle because they're overlapping. So a trick to do is turn one of our x values of our circles into a negative because we want it to be a mirror image. And we should see the second circle pop up on the left-hand side. So we're close to achieving our heart, but it still looks a little funny. So what can we do to fix our heart? Yes, you're right, we need to scale it. We need to scale what element of our heart based on the basic shapes to make it look more proportionate. Yes, let's scale our triangle. So let's add a scale function. But how do we want to scale it? Our triangle looks a little bit too long for the two circles we have at the top. So let's scale it in the y direction. And since we want to shrink it, let's type in a number between 0 and 1. Let's type in 0.7 and see what happens. So we hit compile, and I think this is a pretty decent looking heart. Yeah, so just to reiterate, we're able to create this pretty nice looking heart using basic shapes, so using one triangle and two circles. And by using our shape creator, we're able to manipulate the different attributes of these basic shapes to fit each other to create a larger image. As we wrap up this lesson, I want to show you that there are other cool things for you to check out and test your skills. So at the top of the page, there's a link to Cool Demos. Cool Demos shows you a bunch of examples of what other kids have been able to come up with. So for now, I'm going to click on the fish. And basically, there's different levels of difficulty. And a way to challenge yourself is to look at the organization and the way how others have been able to create these different characters and try to recreate them using your own code on Elm. Moreover, you can get creative and make your own characters like Pac-Man's or maybe even a smiley face. It's all about getting creative and getting comfortable. Furthermore, I want to show you how in Shape Creator, there's more options at the bottom to show you how to make non-equilateral triangles, curves, and polygons. Experiment with them so that you have a basic idea of how they work. Thank you so much for staying tuned in this lesson, and I hope you have a great time playing around with the different shapes.